Next, I would like to invite Becca Edelman and Christina Marinucci from Similar Web and Mandelis as they talk about the driving and optimizing for impulse purchases on the eGrocery. Thank you very much.
Good. Perfect. So thank you, everyone. So for today, we're kind of looking at a lens of how to combine both behavioral data and declarative data in understanding and optimizing for unplanned or impulse purchases, especially online. So we partnered up with Mandelis, we've had an ongoing relationship with, in how they're specifically thinking, testing, and optimizing for that journey on grocery.
Hi everyone, I'm Christina Marinucci. Thanks for having us today and partnering with Similar Web. So first I just want to talk about how big the global snacking market is. It's $550 billion approximately, and impulse, as you can imagine, makes up a huge proportion of our total sales. So it's really pivotal that we understand how to unlock these opportunities in store, but as a large proportion of our commerce has shifted online, to be able to do that online. So snacking is expandable, it has universal appeal and penetration, and it's impulsive. So as we think about snacking being impulsive, impulse is not a channel, it's not a product, it's a mindset. And for us, we like to open up the definition of impulse to be more about unplanned purchases in general versus just impulsive purchases. So we think about the level of planning at 3 levels. So total planned would be you have a pre-selected category and brand in mind, whether that's on a mental list or physical list. Semi-planned is you want to buy the category, so I know I want to buy cookies, but I haven't picked the brand yet, Oreos. And then unplanned is you have not decided to buy the category or the brand at all, so completely unplanned. And as you can see, it's about a 60-40 split between planned at 40% and unplanned at any level, category or brand at 60%, where the biggest proportion of that is coming from unplanned purchases at both the category and brand level. So think about yourself, even in the last 24 hours, how many of you have bought something, probably here a lot, right, that you didn't plan to buy? Like everybody? So it's a really big trigger for our category. So working with Similar Web, we wanted to unlock that. And on the next slide, as we think about the shift of offline to online, the top line there, the dark blue, represents percent online purchases, and the bottom is percent in-store. So you can see for online, it's even more planned, right? So we really need to fight some of the challenges that are against us online. It is a more planned activity online, right? We know there's a lot of search and list behavior online. We don't have the same sensorial elements that we can leverage in store, like sound, smell, taste, etc. Most people are multitasking when they're online, so that being able to break through and disrupt with a message is going to be even harder than in store when that's their primary objective, is to grocery shop, versus when they're online, they're doing a million other things. It is impulsive at its core, so some of that immediate gratification you're not going to get online with the shipping delays. So we're also fighting against that. So working with Similar Web, pulling in some of the data, we're understanding what those key disruption points are and ways to disrupt the shopping journey online to really elevate our categories and brands.
Perfect. And so we've been working with a variety of different data sources, starting off with kind of more traditional survey-based behavior to just understand, is this a growing opportunity overall? Given the challenges that Christina mentioned, what we've actually seen is that those who say that they make most of their purchases online grocery are actually increasing the amount of unplanned buying they're doing year on year. And a lot of this comes back to brands starting to optimize, investments being made by retailer platform to kind of get those hooks in and drive those additional purchases. So overall, when we looked at this in terms of how brands need to respond, first is understanding that occasion-based driver, and we'll look specifically, especially towards discretionary categories, how you can optimize your strategy by specific retailer, by category to do so. And then secondly, the types of shopper data that is available at a very granular level to focus and kind of influence that discovery. So first of all, starting off with occasion-based buying, realize that we have a bit going on in this chart, but essentially what we were able to do is measure the number of purchases being made per day, so day of the week here, per category on Target. And what we can see in the dashed lines is these are your traditional categories. These are snacks, these are chocolates, these are candy, and we see a common curve that's aligning to the normal shopper behavior every day of the week. Where we see disruption is in those micro moments. So things in the red, this is looking at game day snacks where you see a peak outside of normal behavior, and especially in gifting, just changing the category page to what you're focusing on to drive that unplanned purchase where people might not originally look. Now this behavior gets elevated even more so when you think of the type of retailer that you're dealing with. So we measured this in terms of staple categories. Think of veggies, dairy, meat, versus discretionary, so chocolates, snacks, non-alcoholic beverages, etc. And what we can see is on a traditional grocer like Walmart, number of purchases happening throughout the week follow this consistent curve. There's no real difference between the two. People aren't necessarily going there for their impulse, to feed those impulses throughout the week. As we move towards more pure plays like Amazon, we start to see these spikes midweek happening with discretionary categories. You're kind of getting that need on Monday or Wednesday and driving in, and then you see these spikes peak even further when we look towards quick commerce apps, such as Instacart here, where you see these huge midweek peaks in the number of purchases that are occurring for discretionary categories.
So as we think about those occasions that we can really tap into to drive visibility of our brands, think about like 10 years ago, all of these major e-commerce sales activation events didn't exist, right? Prime Day, 11/11 Day, Singles Day, etc. They're all made up. So definitely being able to latch on to some of those, create your own micro events, tap into things that are happening at a national and local level, whether that's sporting events, movie releases, as we see here with GoPuff really getting on the Barbie craze, or national holidays, Amazon looking at the Women's World Cup, or even just your daily like kind of micro opportunities to connect and introduce snacking into it, whether that be movie night, Netflix and chill as you're approaching the weekend, looking at weather patterns for things that people may be, as indicators of things that people may be doing, whether that's a barbecue or picnic, holiday locally, that you can really connect with. So it's less about putting the brand first and more about the human side of it, like what are those more organic ways that your brand, your category can show up, and leveraging those opportunities across the online journey to really drive visibility of our categories. And then at Mandelis, we've obviously tapped into this quite a bit with snacking occasions, and anything can really become a snacking occasion. So you can see here we're driving visibility of the Chips Ahoy brand, leveraging our anniversary, 60 years. So this display banner yes, it can come on a cookies page, but the opportunity for us is really driving visibility outside of cookies. So whether that be on a home page, a recipe page, a promotion page, etc. And you can see on the left here, we're sharing that banner with Doritos, right? So it's a roulette, it's gamification for promotions, which is another tactic that we employ. People like to engage. It gives them an opportunity to save some money in a fun way, and then you're able to speak through the brand's voice to do that and get them to engage. On the right here, you see more of a newer offer, something that's seasonal, right? A limited time packaging opportunity with Mario Kart. We did this a lot with Pride, with Lady Gaga, etc. So it creates some new news in the category for you to have a platform to speak to those consumers.
Perfect. So once we've understood kind of just how to disrupt that behavior midweek with those micro moments, the focus then becomes utilizing every source of data we have to influence that discovery for that unplanned or that semi-planned consumer, as Christina mentioned earlier on. So one thing we saw that was very interesting when we dug into the data here was looking at by category on grocery, what share of your shoppers are coming back more than once every 12 months. So we looked specifically here at Amazon. This is across app, desktop, mobile, whatever it might be. Grocery overall, you see a high percentage of repeat buyers. Now this makes sense. But as you move from staple categories, which grocery's been built upon, so how to get into those routines every week, yes, you're still getting a lot of that repeat behavior happening, but there's towards the right-hand side here, so when you move towards discretionary, a lot of these are actually one-time buyers. So there's no infrastructure in place, and a lot of the investment has not been made in how to translate these impulse buys that happen offline onto online and making sure there's actual lifetime value there. So one way you can really do so is understanding how people actually move throughout each retailer to your category and what parts of the sites you should be focused on in terms of optimization. What we were looking at here is per main category, again focusing on snacks and sweets, so highly discretionary as you kind of want chocolate midweek, how people are actually finding and purchasing. And we looked at what the last click was prior to somebody actually adding this to their cart and buying. We see across the 3 major retailers that this is half of the time driven from on-site search. So this is really where the focus needs to be, significantly more so than banner ads, homepage, or category page. And we've worked really with Mandelis across markets to focus on how you can use this data to kind of tap into those different consumer behaviors.
Yeah, and as Becca mentioned, I think underscoring the importance of breaking that shopper from the normal routine shopping behavior is so important in these categories. In fact, in the US alone, we know that 70% of purchases online are actually purchased from a past purchase. So if you're not part of that past purchase, you have limited ability to really influence and get on that shopping list, build the basket. So we have a sales conversion funnel that we translated from offline to online with Similar Web's help that goes from see to scan to show interest, spot to show interest to select. So it kind of goes through all the funnel elements, and at the highest point is C, it's about driving category visibility, not brand, but category. So we think about ways to drive visibility of the category that would be outside the core category. So think about recipes, promotions, those micro events we talked about, leveraging shoppers' preferences on similar products or adjacent products, milk and cookies, building back to school lunches, right? Leveraging those opportunities to talk more about the category and get more prominent placement so that outside of search we can show up and engage with shoppers. And then we think about the next level, which is really about segment level, so subcategory, and that's like chocolate chip cookies, if you will. So different types of that main category where you can also have opportunities to show up like better for you, ingredient-led, gluten-free. That gives you opportunities outside that main category search and page to drive visibility for that segment for your brand. And then finally, we know that about 50% of searches on site are going to be brand led, so making sure that you own those keywords. Not only keywords, the taxonomy is going to be really important. So are the right brands showing up there in the right subsegments? And again, leveraging content and assortment to really find those opportunities based on the shopper behavior that's going to make sense, right? It has to be organic, it has to be intuitive, where you can show up across their journey. And a lot of times that's at checkout with reminders about did you forget, or understanding the purchase cycle for your brands and really following up at those key moments when you know they might be getting low on stock or have an opportunity to build that basket. Like we said, for snacking, it's really great because it is expandable. The more they buy, the more they eat. So it doesn't take them out of the category, right, in terms of purchase frequency. So we really want to speak to them, and similar with in-store, how we might have 5 displays plus going at one time, we want to find those opportunities to disrupt that shopper online in a similar way.
And one thing that we've definitely been hearing from brands is not just how to focus on your core category, but a lot of where the opportunity we're seeing is in those incremental opportunities. So growing an audience who's already online, already doing their staple routine or shopping, and how do you actually influence this behavior outside of the kind of main brand protection you'd be thinking of. So what we actually are able to do is look at cross-browsing behavior. What we're looking at here is the top 5 categories of people who were viewing or purchasing in the chocolate category. What else do they happen to be buying that day? And you see some consistent behavior per retailer here. So non-alcoholic beverages and snacks, consistently the top 2 categories that are being viewed. And this makes sense. He might be throwing a party, whatever it might be. But I think what becomes really interesting is when you look towards the long tail and you see things such as bakery, such as cleaning products, such as personal care, meat and fish, that the opportunity actually increases and is differentiated from retailer to retailer. We see here on the right-hand side a good example from PepsiCo, who with a search for cookies they're actually promoting their snack category, and they're collaborating with multiple products to get into that routine as well.
Yeah, it's a great point, and we want to leverage that data to, find those moments, like we keep saying, to connect, whether that's, weekend planning, past purchases, recipes, back to school, any type of engagement where similar, if it's building the basket together at a point in time, we can have a reminder message about that. So there's different ways to do that. One of them is more of a limited time offer, which is creating that sense of urgency. This can obviously show up across the e-retailer site. It doesn't have to be on your category page. It creates that excitement. It does change planned purchase behavior. We suggest that it does have a countdown clock, so you know it is limited time, and it also can have number of buyers or number of supplies left, so it can kind of dwindle down your inventory levels as well to create that urgency. And then on the right is new products. So new products as well, a lot of times you default to putting them on category pages, but if it's new at the category level, they're not going to be on that category page. So it's really important to partner with your retailer and understand where those opportunities exist. And sometimes we track the data through Similar Web, and we see that it's actually offsite where they're engaging with categories, whether that's a picnic opportunity, an influencer talking about it, a recipe site, et cetera, that we can then latch onto and find those programmatic opportunities or direct placements to place our display ads that are going to be more relevant, more organic to that shopper journey, and then drive them to a conversion site like an e-retailer.
Perfect. So overall, kind of the two main things that we see in terms of opportunities for brands to leverage behavioral and declarative. One, looking for ways to disrupt that weekly routine and using data sources that help you look for the optimizations at a granular level. And then also how to focus on discovery, again, category specificity, looking for those small opportunities to build up within your own portfolio as well. So thank you very much for your time today. More data, any questions, come by. We'll be around all week. Thank you.
Thank you.